艺术生鲜，
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 艺术生鲜
ART
TAIPEI 欢迎您。
各位听众大家好，您现在收听的是2022艺术生鲜 ART TAIPEI Live Podcast， 我是开场主持人 KJ。 这集呢要跟大家分享的主题是国际艺术现况与未来发展。我们这集邀请到的两位重量级来宾，分别是我们美国国际艺术暨艺术家协会希利尔画廊的执行长 Timothy Brown， 还有我们下一位独立策展人王焜生老师。最后呢要介绍的是我们美丽大方声音好听的英文主持人 Grace。 我们把接下来的时间交给 Grace。
Hi, 大家好. Hi, everybody. This is Grace. And today we are very, very welcoming Director Timothy Brown and also the independent curator Emerson Wong for everybody. And today we want to talk about the current situation and future possibilities of international arts and cultural exchange. And we know before I was searching online about like Director Brown, about the background, and it's very, very interesting that you actually running a gallery under the organization called International Arts and Artists Organizations. And I think that it's a very interesting organization that's supporting a lot of international art and artists in the US, and also the gallery actually showing a lot of this kind of artworks from international art and artists. Could you share us about like what's the missions of this organization and what kind of thing you're doing, and what's your point of view of cultural exchange in the USA?
Yeah, so I'm director of the Hilliard Gallery, which is a program of the International Arts and Artists, and our primary objective is to provide exhibition opportunities for contemporary artists, solo artists, group exhibitions, and also for curated shows. The artists who we target are local, regional, national, and international. And supporting that is the commitment to cross-cultural exchange, dialogue, and engagement with a broad and diverse public.
Yeah. And how do you think about the American cultural exchange with other countries, like maybe like Southern American? Because I saw a lot of like different kind of projects you are actually doing. Yeah.
Yes, I find that to be a central part of what we are committed to. Mainly, one, we're in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been there, it's the town of embassies, right?
Yeah.
And so you have every cultural group imaginable who are represented there. So there's a potential for representing quite a wide range of artists in terms of the range of various different cultures that come through that particular area. So we like to be a part of that opens up opportunities for us to collaborate, for example, with embassies or with other similar cultural organizations to help broaden the breadth and scope of the representation we have the potential to host at our contemporary art space.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and do you face any difficulties or things you always face through this process to collaborate with different embassies or artists?
Yeah, I guess you could say that there are some challenges. I mean, most of them are financial, usually. A lot of them are, we all are kind of in the same boat. We're a nonprofit, so we do rely on funding and other forms of support to make things happen. Our primary mission really is to provide exhibition opportunities for artists, and we do the best we can to do that. We also free to the public.
Yeah.
So those are some of the main challenges. I think other than that, there are challenges, but they're the kind of challenges you look forward to. Like there are language barriers, there are cultural boundaries that have to be crossed and negotiated and shared.
Yes.
And that could be a challenge, but that's an exciting challenge. That's a good challenge. I mean, it's something that you actually look forward to.
So So because I asked you about the difficulty, so I want to pass the question to curator Emerson. Because Emerson actually has a various backgrounds, especially you are very specialized in the creating between like Europe and Taiwanese artists, and also you have exhibitions experience in Taiwan and also in Europe or other cities. Do you face any like difficulties when you're doing this kind of things, or what kind of interesting case you have already done when you do the international curations or to talk with the artists? Yeah, maybe you can share some experience.
Okay. I would like to say hello to everyone first, Grace and Timothy, and also all the audience. And I'm the curator, Emerson Wang Kun-Sheng. Grace just asked my experience about curating and also different cultural background. And actually my background may be quite a little bit different or complicated because I graduated my first degree in Taiwan, and afterward I finished my master degree in UK. And then I got a scholarship, so I studied in Prague, in the Czech Republic. And then I stayed in Berlin and study and work for 13 years. And in 2013, I moved back to Taiwan. And afterward, I was the director of ART TAIPEI for two years. In between, I also work in Berlin and also in Seoul in South Korea. And the time I was invited by the government, in Korean government. So I was as the guest, like fellowship curator and researcher to understand more about Korean contemporary art. And why they chose me to be as the fellow one is because that, first of all, my background, I'm Asian. And secondly, I stay in Europe. And they need one person is Asian but has the experience, life experience, work experience in Europe. They want me to bring their art to Europe. So while I was in Germany, actually, what I have done mostly actually was Korean art, not Taiwanese art. And many friends, they misunderstood that I'm a Korean. That's so funny.
That's so funny.
To say Korean art, and now how popular and which Korean artist is very good in the international field. So it was actually somehow I also feel so pitied because I'm Taiwanese. I would like to introduce more Taiwanese artists to European collectors or audience. And but of course, I at the same time also work different kind of like cultural exchange. So I was also the writer for different kind of art magazine in UK and Taiwan. So I also introduced European art to Taiwanese readers, and especially also in China. Afterward, I understood that a lot of Chinese people, artists, they know me because of my writing.
Yeah, because of your publication.
Yeah, right. And also, I also got a chance, so I could also wrote some articles about Asian art scenes to Europe. So the experience for me is quite good. I can do something like cultural exchange. So I feel if someone would like to have this opportunity to do, maybe one thing is that think about publication. And especially nowadays, the very good ways like internet. You have your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or different kind of social media to spread your news. And I feel that is nowadays, especially recent 10 years, is much easier than the early time. That time we also only depend on the papers made magazine.
And right now we have a digital platforms and medias. Can share.
So I feel different time. Of course, we have different way to find the way to present or show that you know, and the people know more about your cultural background. And for me, as you ask, what the difficulty for me is that I'm Asian and I stay in Europe, and even I feel that I know a lot of art knowledge. I have more experience, but somehow they always feel you're outsider. Yeah, that is for me a little bit difficult. So 2013, I feel if I really want to do something more, and also for Taiwanese art, maybe I should move back. And I use my experience or my network in Europe. And afterward, I can bring more European artists to Taiwan and also introduce more Taiwanese artists to Europe.
I have an extra question for you. Like, when you face, like, people say you're Korean, how do you explain?
Oh, that is very interesting. When I work in Korea, and during daytime, I work in the museum. And I asked the director, it is a little bit difficult to communicate with Korean. So if you could support me to study Korean language. So during daytime I work, and in the evening I went to university to study Korean language. So I could also speak a little bit Korean with them, and then it's more easier for me to communicate with those people. So if they ask me if I'm Korean, I would say, oh yes, 안녕하세요.
That's funny. And because you talk about the outsider, I think a lot of international people in like other countries, not their hometowns, they always feel that. So how can you help with the artists or maybe the people you collaborate with to try to bridge into if they are in the international city? And I want to ask the same question to like Tim, like if you have any thoughts about that.
So how to bridge that gap?
Yeah, bridge that gap and to make people feel easy to be in other countries. I mean, like outsider feeling is always threatening, I would say.
I mean, mainly just giving people the opportunity to who they are without any hesitation. I mean, getting past, like I said, any language barriers. In some cases, people may feel that their cultural language that they're bringing to the situation, may not be well accepted. But that's easy to overcome. It's something that I look forward to, and it's something that, like you mentioned earlier, especially with social media today, with video, it does allow you to bridge that gap fairly easily because you can make the content from these various cultural groups accessible in a very easy manner. I have found that to be helpful. I've even noticed too that this past year I have been strategically thinking about how to get information about the artists that we're representing daily. We do not miss a day, so that the works are always on people's mind. And I think that it's starting to show because we get a lot of reviews in the Washington Post. At least, I mean, this year alone, I think we've already had 7 reviews, and I think it's just because of the commitment to getting the art out there and being committed to communicating to the public about something that is new or fresh or different. Because you're right. I mean, the challenge is sometimes people are not as open to accepting something that is different. Like in DC, what's really interesting is there's a very strong commitment to local and regional artists because and I guess it's the same, challenge everywhere. Local artists want to be recognized for the work that they're doing, and they like to see that we are committed to that. And sometimes though they'll see, maybe there's like a kind of a competitive, edge or something when they see that, Hillier is also representing Taiwan and Hillier is also representing, Italian artists. Sometimes, you start to see that tension there, but, our mission is cross-cultural exchange. So we welcome those opportunities for local artists to see what they have in common with these artists from other cultures. It's amazing, for example, what is one of those common themes that seem to be coming up all the time? Identity. And these types of thematic approaches are ways where you can easily transcend those kind of challenges where, people can begin to identify, what other cultural experiences are like for other artists in other regions. I think it's part of what makes our work exciting. And we see the fruitful outcomes of meeting those challenges and bringing them into fruition.
Yeah, it's a common language.
Yes.
Yeah, in arts. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, and how about Emerson? What do you think about it?
Yeah, when you mentioned this, I remember that my experience in Berlin may be quite different. Berlin is a special city. It's combined new and old. And maybe you know one term called Ich bin ein Berliner. It's called by Kennedy. While he visited Berlin, and he said, I'm a Berliner. It means everyone. It doesn't mean that you were born in Berlin, so you're one Berliner. Once you live here, you work here, then you are one of the Berliners. This is a special term in Berlin. So maybe while I was in London, in Prague, I don't feel that this is my home. But while I was in Berlin, I feel this is my home because everybody is outsider. So everybody is Berliner. So I don't feel that we are quite different. So everybody from outside, then we move together in this city. So we feel we all together to make this city different. And that is also a special art scene in Berlin. For example, a lot of art galleries open there. But actually, there is no art market in Berlin. But why? There are in total more than 400 galleries there. Because Berlin is an art factory. It means a lot of artists that want to move to Berlin because life expenses was quite cheap. And so they told me, once you pay one rental, the same rental, you have double or triple space in Berlin you can use. So they moved to Berlin, and then the gallery, they moved there because it's the first step they can contact with those artists, and they have a first hand to see those artwork. So while I was in Berlin, that during the 10 years was the best time for me, I think. Whenever the opening of the galleries was in the Thursday evening, not Friday, not Saturday, was Thursday evening, and all the street was full of people. When you see the traffic jam, then you know there was a gallery open.
Oh, really?
There's
an opening here.
Yes. And the whole building, from ground floor to fifth floor, and then there are 10 or 15 galleries, and they're all together, so all open. So we know what kind of style galleries will open this area. So in total, there may be 3 or 4 different kind of style artists, and then we know to choose which opening you will go. So for me, that time may be quite different, like the experience in the UK or in Prague, quite different. I feel Berlin somehow is very close, but somehow it's also very open to all strangers for me. And if I say how to collaborate with those people, maybe in Berlin it's not that so difficult.
Yeah.
Because
how about in other cities?
yes, quite different. I also live in Hamburg.
Yeah.
A few years. Hamburg, I would say, is a very difficult city.
Yeah.
It's very German city, I would say, like this way.
So it's actually harder to bring the artists into that city?
Not that easy.
Oh,
Not that
okay.
easy. It's a rich city. So all the audience, once they want to see the experience, go to the gallery. They want to show the elegant one. They don't want to see the experience one. The new artists, they are not interested.
Oh, they don't like the experimental things?
No,
not at all.
But Berlin can be happen, but in Hamburg, it doesn't happen.
Okay. So what's going on when you bring the artists to Berlin compared to maybe other city like Hamburg or maybe UK?
Yeah. If like Taiwanese artists, they ask me, I would say Berlin will be the first stop.
Oh.
You will feel more comfortable because this city is quite welcome all the strangers to move in. So I feel once you choose one place or location that the city you can easy to get in, maybe it's a first step. But also when I encourage the artists to apply the like artist village or to stay for a few months, some artists they told me their English is not so good.
language barrier.
Language, yes, or obstacle. But I would say if you don't know the language, maybe it's also good for you because you have to use your sense, not use your mouth to speak, to communicate, to ask. You have to use your sense, use your ears, use your eyes to understand the new culture, the new location.
Oh, that's interesting. Like, I mean, like, Tim also have some experience, and you both have like same like difficulties. I think like barriers, language barriers, and also like financial issues. Because I'm so curious because the curating in overseas country is not that easy, or maybe to collaborate with other organizations or agencies, there is a cultural barrier as well. So, when you're doing the overseas like exhibitions, like how you pick your artists and then how you source your finance, I think this will be like interesting questions, and I think audience want to know your experience. If there is any case or any collaboration style you want to do, or from your experience, I mean previous experience, maybe you can share with our audience. Yeah, I think Tim can go first.
Well, one thing that we do annually is we put out what we call a call for proposals.
Yeah.
And during that time, we may receive anywhere from 200 to 250 proposals from artists who would like to have exhibitions in our gallery space. And these applications, proposals come from everywhere, not just in the DMV area, as we say, DC, Virginia, Maryland area, but also throughout the United States and abroad. And I actually work closely with an advisory committee of 12 art professionals who are accomplished in the field. Some are local, some are abroad.
Yeah.
And they all play a role in helping to select those artists for the next fiscal year.
Yeah.
That is something that has really worked for us in terms of being able to bring in a diverse body of artists that can ultimately result in 30 solo exhibitions of artists. Yeah, we have a very busy schedule. We actually turn over exhibitions every month.
Oh, every month. Oh, that's
so so we keep it pretty vibrant there.
Yeah, so vibrant. Yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting. And so how you source your finance for those programs?
Yes, that's challenging at times for us. We are a nonprofit, so I spend a lot of time applying for grants.
Yeah.
There are some good local sources, like in Washington, D.C., there's the D.C. Commission on the Arts and Humanities. They offer a lot of funding. They also provide some funding for like infrastructure type things. So if you're looking to, say, enhance your building construction, or you maybe want to integrate some new technologies, they have funding for that. And they also have funding for different types of institutional support, whether it's for general operating costs or for specific projects or exhibitions that you're proposing. They offer funding for that too. Actually, I just received a small grant 2 weeks ago for an exhibition that I have planned for next year. So they have been pretty reliable in that regards. And there are a couple of other places too in town. Then there are other larger funding agencies like the National Endowment for the Arts, which is sort of a larger umbrella of the DC Commission. So those are some of the sources that we rely on for funding.
It sounds like you need to apply for different things in different organizations.
Yeah. We have to really diversify.
Yeah, are there like from the government or from like private funding?
The closest thing to government will be the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities. For us, those primarily just through granting agencies.
And you talk about you have a lot of programs for international artists, right? And I'm wondering like how you select the different like artists you want to collaborate with. Yeah, what's the standard? of the
Well,
selection?
some of that actually comes about through collaborations with other organizations. So like I said, we do work with embassies occasionally.
Okay.
And those embassies help to make that process a little easier. For example, this past year we partnered with TechRo, which is the Taiwan Economic Cultural Representative Office, who put us in contact with curators and or museums that have maybe a whole menu of artists and or exhibitions that they're looking to get greater exposure in the United States, and I work with them to kind of make that happen. And that I think having that kind of connection and that kind of relationship makes the process a whole lot easier.
Yeah, you have a liaison
Yes.
between you and the country, right? Okay, that's so cool. And how about Emerson? Like, what do you think? Like when we work with overseas agencies or artists for the show, and what's your selection standard and how you source the fund? Yeah.
Okay, my situation may be different from Tim. I don't run one like a location or one institution, and my project also actually all from different organization.
Yeah.
For example, from the government, from museum or galleries, and I never be a so-called independent curator want to do a show, so he has to try everything to find financial support. Actually, for me, I would say I'm quite lucky.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of curators try to find the money a lot.
So my situation actually quite different.
Okay.
For example, in the past, all the time my project actually from different organization that they asked me. So what I did was only for a special project that we have a mission. We want to do this. So they asked me, could you please prepare one proposal so we compare, we have to look if it's okay for us. So this is what I did. And the only thing that different is the director of ART TAIPEI. That time I always, every day I have to find the money back. Every day I think how much I have to pay.
Yeah.
And if I have enough money to pay for this show. This is only different. So we have to write different proposal project to ask the Ministry of Culture, a different company. Okay, you come here, support us, this and that, a different kind of project.
Yeah.
Except this, I never asked the other support. So it is quite different.
Yeah, ART TAIPEI is the hardest show for you.
I would say nowadays the art fair is not only for art.
Yeah.
It's for everybody. So you have to open the door for the all public. So they have to the easy access to think art is not so far away from me. It's also everyday life.
Yes.
So it's not only tell them that you have to understand art.
Yeah.
What we are doing, actually, Grace knows, we have to do this. Art is everywhere. And you come here, it's just one kind of daily life. So here is just like go shopping, the same.
It's totally the same. It's like an art mall.
Shopping mall, the same.
Shopping mall.
More beautiful.
Much more. Like every beautiful thing is around you.
So even just eye shopping is okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Just not go to find the money. It's okay.
But I feel that if like Tim or the other curators, they want to do something that they really, really want to do, of course they have to find a different way. And nowadays, actually, I also like an agent for different artists. And that my support, actually not really so-called support. I always discuss with the artists. If we want to do some special project, or you want to do something that you like, and maybe we have to think who really enjoy your work. And so we find out those collectors. We can discuss with them if we have a project we want to do. So how what kind of support you can do for us?
Yeah.
And of course, first thing is that you can collect artwork. That is the most important thing for artists.
Yeah. Yes.
And then we can also continue to discuss the second step, the third step, what we want to do. And for example, now I also work one artist who was in Paris for many years, and now he is in Taiwan. And now it's just one show here in Taipei. But next year he will have one solo exhibition in MoCA in Taipei. So what we are doing is that step by step to show his work to that audience to see his work. And also that people know that we have one project to do in the future. So the kind of financial support is not only to find out one certain person. Actually, we have to find different way to do this. I think this is also nowadays we try to find more support or that people they think art is quite interesting or something that you can do, and then it's not only for that some kind of benefit, but maybe you just I feel so happy to do art. Yeah, I feel this also that recently I work with artists or to talk with some people. They say you don't have to tell me that when I buy one art so I can have some kind of benefit, or in the future I can earn some money. You don't have to tell this. I also don't expect this. I only feel that because every day I'm so tired, but when I see this artwork, I feel so relaxing.
Yeah.
I feel like heal my pain. So this is very, very important for me. And when I hear this, I feel so, wow, that's so good. We want those people, more and more those kind of people to help us.
Yeah. Because you mentioned that you're the agents for a lot of Taiwanese artists as well. And I'm just wondering, because Taiwanese art genre sometimes is very different from like Western taste. And how you introduce them to those Western collectors or maybe foreigners, to help them or support them in the show, or maybe try to do the collections, something like that. Yeah.
It also depends on the style of the artwork. For example, I also curated some different shows calligraphy. And I think this is more difficult for Western audience, because calligraphy is not only like a line or a black and white color. It's also about vocabulary. Every single word has one special meaning. And if you don't understand Chinese, you don't understand the meaning, and you don't know why this artist he used this kind of style to write calligraphy. And I remember a few years ago I curated one calligraphy show in Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong actually there are more audience from Western. So that time we discussed how we prepare this project. We show calligraphy, but this time we don't explain all the context. We only show this artist transform calligraphy as painting. So this is my strategy, to use the painting, the line, to show them, let them to understand the picture first.
Okay. You don't need to understand the real calligraphy, just try to understand from the image.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this,
I think that's quite smart.
Yeah, the way is that I also have to think how they understand the painting, how they understand the art. So I have to find out like a small window to open it for them first.
Okay, that sounds very, very helpful, and it's quite useful, right? Yeah. So because right now we're in, like post-pandemic period, and in the past like 2 and 3 years, like I think a lot of people cannot go like on the international trips. How that affect the maybe like teams, organizations, or galleries running, and how that affect like Amazon you do your project. Did that change your mindset, or maybe change any strategy of running your projects? Maybe Tim go first. Yeah.
Well, actually, there's a lot of practical realities surrounding the whole COVID situation.
Yeah.
Our gallery actually, and this was before I started working there, closed for almost 2 years due to COVID. So there were several staff members who were laid off. There were projects that were in the works that were suspended as a result of it. So actually, when I was hired, I came on board to actually reopen the gallery right in the midst of COVID.
Oh, really?
And
that sounds tough.
So there were some challenges all across the board. Obviously, getting a gallery to reopen after being closed is a challenge in and of itself. But at the same time, I say this to people who work at museums or any other cultural institution who are going through the exact same thing is, turn the negative into a positive. I mean, a lot of people struggled with the virtual realities.
Yes.
And trying to do things virtually and online. But that was because, for the most part, people just struggled with the tools. They struggled with the medium of communication. But it really was actually a great way of broadening your audience, actually.
Yes.
So thinking of it as more of a positive thing than a negative thing actually helped to actually expand opportunities for us. So, for example, our first show was actually, when we reopened, was actually She Says Her Story, which was 6 contemporary women artists from Taiwan. The challenge was they could not come to the States.
Yes.
Travel was very difficult.
Yeah.
And yes, too, there were some artists who were more fluent with the English language than others. But that can also be addressed through virtual programming or video recordings. So we actually had the curator and the participating artist create video artist statements. So instead of having just the written statements that are on the wall, we actually had video artist statements and then short segments that also help to explain some of the concepts in their work. And just presented that, online as a playlist that could give our audience a better understanding of, what the show is about. And actually, it expanded the interpretive possibilities. All of a sudden, instead of, coming to the actual gallery space and reading the gallery labels, they actually all of a sudden now get this very more in-depth understanding of their work. Because the artist now had to give some thought to how they were going to present their material through this new medium.
Yeah.
So it actually wound up being a very worthwhile venture in terms of making the artists more accessible in this very challenging pandemic situation.
Yeah. So because you talk about artist video actually put the exhibitions more in depth, right? So do you keep going on this kind of operations or strategy and maybe to put all the artist video next in all the exhibitions?
Yes. Yeah. So that's the other possibility there. You start to realize, okay, this is really starting to work out. Then the gallery starts to open back up. People start actually coming back to the physical spaces. Now you can, rather just thinking of it as a either or, opposition, you see them actually as complementary. So you can start using both interchangeably. And in some cases, you could actually have the video in the exhibition.
Yes.
As well as, have the artist on site.
Yeah.
So there's definitely ways to capitalize on both.
So did that actually speed up the, digital transformations of your gallery or how you operation?
It did, because there was, when I started, there was actually, when the gallery was closed, there was actually, we had an online exhibition. It had something to do with the location of identity or something like that. And each artist actually presented their content online. So that actually gave me some ideas as well. Maybe there's a way to take some of the content that artists are working on that maybe didn't make it in the show and convert that into an online exhibition. And again, not seeing it as an either or opposition, but just seeing it as a way to extend the work that you're doing in the actual gallery space.
Yeah.
So you're right. It does open up a lot of possibilities and encourages you to want to consider incorporating those kinds of approaches moving forward. So right now, I think our YouTube channel is very active right now. I started buying all of these new technologies, different just for affordable, practical ways to record artists right on the spot. It's getting these, the technology today is just so much easier, right?
Yes.
You can get a real affordable, receiver with maybe 2 transmitters, where you can record 2 people at the same time relatively easily.
Yeah.
I joke.
How many fans do you have right now on your YouTube channel?
So you can see all of this, they're our gallery, for example, has this unusual ambient noise. Like it's, sound can really echo through the spaces. And historically, from what I've been told, it's been virtually impossible to record anything in the space. It's impossible. You will never be able to capture any really good audio.
Yeah.
But I started using these remote microphones with our speakers. And so now when we have a packed gallery space and we have a featured artist and maybe there's some performance, that's integrated in there, I just pin a mic on them.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we
online and offline merging together.
We have a great record. And it's also great for documentation purposes too.
Yes.
So you now have a nice visual multimedia documentation of this exhibition that you just spent 6 months planning. That was the other thing. And they go by so fast. Like, man, I can't believe I put all this work into this, and now it's just gone. But that's the other thing. It now provides documentation for what you do. So
it's good for YouTube channel to document everything. How about Emerson's? Do you have a similar experience as Tim, or maybe you have a different kind of case?
Quite different.
The
past 2 years, for me, was the best time.
How do you say so?
Before COVID-19, I went abroad almost every month. I was quite busy almost every month. Wow. And since the last time I was abroad was February 2020, I was in Japan for a speech. And every day I look at the plane schedule. If they stop to fly from Japan back to Taiwan, then I have to stay in Japan and don't know for how long. So once I landed in Taipei, I thought, finally I'm back.
Yeah, you land down.
But also, then the second thing started to happen is that every month I was very busy to curate different shows in Taiwan.
Oh.
Because all the people all stay in this small island.
Yes.
They didn't go out. So in this island, so many artists, they start to think, what can I do for now? Okay, let's do some show.
Everyone will find you.
Stop. And they just keep calm down. So now we are all in Taiwan, so we have to do some show. And then you can be my curator. So then, in the past, I went abroad every month. And then since March 2020, I curated show every month in Taiwan.
Whoa.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, so my experience was quite different.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
But I remember once, last year, one art magazine, they also asked me the same question. Mm-hmm. And I said, actually, why I said this time is the best time for us is that we can stop something that to look at inside ourselves and to think, for example, I'm a curator and what I'm doing now and what I want to do in the future. And also to look back the past time of what I have done. Is it good or is good for me, good for the artist? And if I have the chance to do something more, what I can do. So the 2 years that actually also give me the chance to think. Even though I don't have much time, but I still have to think.
You're doing the curating works and think about yourself as well. That's good. Use time wisely. Yeah. Okay. So because we are in Art Taipei right now, and I guess you can see there's a lot of Taiwanese artists. And because we have a chance to have Tim and Emerson both have very, very abundance exhibitions experience, and also to collaborate with overseas artists and agencies. What's kind of suggestions or tip you want to go to maybe give to this Taiwanese artists when they apply for maybe the overseas program, like maybe IANA's program, and how they can just prepare their mindset before they are going to collaborate with galleries in other countries or agencies. Any thought? Maybe Tim first. Yeah.
Well, first I just want to mention that I encourage artists to respond to, say, the call for proposals when when they see something like that.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the context where I'm coming from, that's the most useful way, because you cannot imagine how many emails I get from artists just out of the blue. Like, I'm doing this work. You really should check it out. Here's my website. I mean, I get probably 10 of those a week, maybe more. It's not very practical for me. I can't go through all those emails. And so the artists should be encouraged to look out for these formal opportunities where someone has provided a formal avenue for how you can participate, and go through those kind of channels, or look forward to like a curator or an organization that is committed to bringing artists together for these opportunities, rather than trying to just do it yourself, because you just become a needle in a haystack at that point, and it becomes
no one will see you.
It becomes I mean, as much hard as I love artists and want to support artists, that way it's just overwhelming. It's just hard to do. So that's been a way of providing a little bit of structure. And in terms of the challenges of, or what the artists should prepare for, especially artists who are coming from abroad. You mentioned this earlier. Sometimes the language barrier, is intimidating for some artists. Like, I don't speak the language very well. Yeah. I don't know if I can give a talk, or that kind of thing. Which to me is just so silly.
Yeah.
You explained it beautifully before. It's really, people don't really care about that. They really don't. I mean, they are so drawn by the art. Every word that comes out of an artist's mouth is like gold, as far as the art enthusiast is concerned. They're just so excited and happy just to have the actual artist there, to help illuminate what they're looking at. I mean, I never see that as an issue.
There's no language barriers in arts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is common, believe it or not. There are a lot of people who get caught up or hung up on the fact that they may not be welcomed, or they may not be, this different environment may not be something that is welcoming. But it's definitely not the case, especially when you're talking about organizations and communities that are so strongly committed to that kind of work. There really is no reason to feel any kind of hesitancy at all. So that would be another thing that I would recommend, is not feel afraid. Do not feel like,
just be brave.
You'd be surprised at how welcome people would be just to have you there.
Okay. How about Emerson? What kind of suggestions you want to give?
After almost 3 years, I think people all cherish this new opportunity to go abroad, to see all the friends face to face.
Yes.
I also like to discover new things. I like adventure. So since we have the chance, I don't think that you just keep the old habit in your mind. You have to find out something new, especially more than 2 years. We don't see the outside different things.
Yeah.
So with chance, I feel you don't have to expect that what you want to see, but you can expect what I can discover, what I can find out something new that is more important. I think we should open our mind.
Yeah.
And also, this is a new era for us to see how people to find a new way to communicate. Maybe we all cherish the chance we can sit here all together face to face to talk.
Yeah. Without mask.
Right. We can laugh.
Yeah, okay. So today we have a very fruitful talk with Tim and Emerson, and thank you both of you. I think Taiwanese artists and those audience who are interested in cultural exchange, they got definitely some tips or some suggestions or experience from you guys. Yeah, so thank you both. And then I will hand the moderator to KJ.
Hello， 还是有听得懂部分的啦。
你都在点头跟微笑。
对，有点头跟微笑。
就这个 callback 是可以呼应，就是听众们一起来先 现场，我就看到有一段我听懂，我觉得也很喜欢的一段，就是有时候语言是隔阂，但其实有时候没有语言，你反而可以用你的感官去 sense 去感受作品的喜怒哀乐或情绪，我觉得是蛮有趣的一个新观点，我蛮喜欢这个观点，所以很欢迎就是所有的听众，不管你是小白艺术新手或是老手的话呢，来到我们的艺博，因为今年的艺博的展区好像特别大，作品也是特别的多，希望来大家这边发现新的东西，看看艺术家在这个疫情的1-2年当中他们也发现了什么东西，邀请大家，那也谢谢我们今天的策展人，还有我们的执行长以及我们的 Grace 主持人，谢谢大家， Thank you，
谢谢。
你在哪呢？我在这里。2022台北国际艺术博览会21号到24号在世贸一馆，这里将是1年1度最大的艺术盛事，有138家的画廊，有5000件的精彩作品和超过40场的精彩论述。你在哪呢？别忘了，我们在这里。21号到24号世贸一馆等你哦。
就这样啊？
哦，还有忘的吗？没有吧？
没有吗？
哦，对，还有咖啡啊，还有美食，还有他们说欧陆热点，非常好的。
还有吗？
多的是。